daisy chains and sweet champagne, and 2 days alone with you. Not too far from the city by car, or maybe we can make a more romantic trip by train to the country. It's where I want to be with you for the week.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. So, I don't know where we're at, up to part 8, I think we are. Look at the goji berries. Wow, we got a bunch of goji berries. Anyway, beautiful, quiet morning. Very quiet morning. Today is the 1st of November. Supposed to cloud up again here later, but we'll get some stuff done while we got some solar panel. Waiting for the tops of the tree shadows to come off my shop power so I can get to work here. So I figured I'd give you guys an update on where we're at with it into this next portion, because it's big as far as what's going into it. So first off, we did a little initial setup on this thing, and I showed you how I was going to cut in to the fire brick, because it's almost like a styrofoam, like a hard styrofoam. It's really cool. And I got a piece of 1-inch square tube steel for it to rest. Set it down. You can see we did a kind of a break-in test fire. It was pretty good. We roasted, we put the crock pot up here and roasted a chicken in it, and it got really hot, and I almost burned it, which wasn't good, but we salvaged the meal. But anyway, test fire, and I still got to build the frame around it. A lot of stuff I got to do, but the work that we're working on now is preparing for the dome as we left off, and I want to show you that. I've been working on grinding down these brick because they're going to go essentially flat around the outside. I need to get very mechanical in the hold here, and I want to show you that now. So what else? I think that's pretty much it, because you've seen all that. Alright, so I've done a little work there, had a fire, worked pretty good, but we're waiting for power. So I'm over here in the shop, and I've sketched some lines on there. I'm throwing the brick here in it, between these, just to kind of hold it. Get in there, get in there. And then I'm taking my grinder, a right angle grinder with one of the tile saw blades, as you see there, and using it to grind these edges down like here. And I'm just doing it by eyeball. So yesterday we put together the arches, which will be for the frame of these. And let's talk about why I'm doing things a little differently than some of these other builds. It has to do with the materials I have available and how do I best work them. So I've got 2 frames, and if you remember from my first frame that we built, I had this cute little 1x1, or in this case is a 3/4 by 3/4 little block that is going to allow us to hopefully disassemble the framing underneath the brick without too much difficulty. Alright, so I've got some cedar boards here. One of the things I want to do today is I got to get enough boards planed down and ripped down and then made into boards to essentially glue, or not glue, but screw through here, so that when we're done. Morning, babe. How are you doing? You got the morning rigamadoo. Yeah, the morning rigamadoo we're on. We had fed the animals. We still got shadow on those panels, honey. We can't. We don't have a go yet. We don't have a go to go get it done.
It's not like we got these big old oaks and stuff.
Yeah, that'll change once the leaves drop. But they're taking their time. So anyway, what I want to do is show you. Get over here. What we're going to do. So the frame I'm going to have is a fairly solid, so that when I put these down, that they don't move while I'm working on them, and until they firm up. Now, imagine these boards are glued this way, and both of these arches are, essentially stacked. So you have a half barrel, and then you have all these boards coming up. Then this is going to sit approximately at 3/4 of an inch of the board will be here, and then this, if I can get this to stand properly, we'll lay on top of it. I don't think I'm going to put anything in there to bond those two. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see how I go. And then this one will go essentially right here. Okay. And then here. And then we'll have another one here, about 3/4. And then we'll have one here. And I'll follow her advice, even though I wanted to be lazy about it. We're going to do essentially a running bond on these, which means if you can picture this, and you're on the inside and there's a board here, and I start laying them, I'm going to stagger my joints. So they're like on this outside, we'll start with a half brick, and then this next brick will be up. And then I am going to go ahead and put some mortar in between these. So these will get mortared all around. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to try and bond these together. I kind of like the idea that they can lay snug and flat. But here's the reason. You can see now why I wanted to grind these down for the mortar. So if these are essentially in the position that they will be in, and then I'm going to fill these mortar joints, of course some on the sides here. If I had... Yeah, bring me 2 of those brick over here. Now let's set those right here. So if they were essentially right there and right there, they would have to be, now mind you, I could change the diameter. What I did to get this, let me get back off of this stupid thing in my knees here. What I did, so here's the distance of my width. It's the 31.5 that it takes, or actually by the time you add the boards, once they're planed down and screwed in here, but from the outside corner here to the outside corner here is the 31.5. And then what I did was I laid these bricks out without them being cut, so that I had a full width brick sitting all the way across, so that when I put this together I got exactly 10 bricks. Now to have a actual dimensional radius, a full half circle, it would have actually taken about 10.5 bricks. So I've actually decreased the arch just a little bit, so that I didn't have to run a half brick as a keystone up top, that kind of thing. This is going to be, as you can see, full bricks. Saves me a little bit of cutting, but then again I'm going to be grinding these down. So now I could have expanded this and moved these out here and here in order to get a little bit more mortar joint in there. I could have done that. However, that changes my dimensions, and that might have pushed me closer to the half, cleaning up the half brick. But what I really want is more of a mechanical hold, just like I've talked about with the whole stacking of these bricks. Because of the way of the materials I have, I want to ensure that these are mechanically held. So by doing this, what it gives me is two faces that are fairly parallel with each other, and gives me at least that 1/4 inch of mortar, and that 1/4 inch of mortar that will actually be a part of the mortar that's going to get packed in between these guys here. And that's kind of wide, and it'll take up a lot. But because these are lightweight, and because of more surface area here for the mortar to touch, I think there will be very, very little issues with that being held in place. But because of these being thinner, I wanted a mechanical hold, because you only have that 1.25 inches here. So by doing this, what that does is it creates a wider distance here than there is here. So it is no longer parallel. So you have two parallel lines here, and if this thing were to loosen up, it could slide right out fairly easily and collapse. We don't want that. We want it to catch, because you can see that gap closes up if it were to try and come down. So that is a mechanical hold. It's a lot of detailed work to get all these pieces in place, but it is the best that I can come up with to use the materials that I've got to do something that's going to last. The whole point is, I do not want to do this. I don't want it falling in. I don't want the mortar and this refractory cement, the way I've got it made up, but following the recipes that I'm from people who have succeeded, who've done it, what they know what they're doing better than I did. I think we're going to be pretty good. So today we got to finish that, getting that together so that we can get this and this one screwed together to get our half barrel. I need to finish these. So those are the amount of brick that I need to go over the entire half dome or half barrel. Then the next big challenge is I've got to do some arches here and here, and they have to be two different radiuses, so that I can get a lip here and here, and that lip wants to be all the way around, and then I still got to figure out how I'm going to get my flue in between the wall here and the exterior wall here, which will be brick and the fire brick. So we're going to do an arch of fire brick. Right now I'm debating on cutting these in half long ways and doing a lot of little half bricks here. I still got to be structurally sound enough to handle the weight of putting the brick chimney up. I kind of got most of it figured out, but I'm not 100%. But the next step is to get this. So I'm going to work on this and finishing that. And I think we'll catch you up when I've got something kind of in place to show you how that's going to play out. Lots of challenges still, lots of thinking, engineering to do it this way compared to other ways that guys have done it with the dome aspect. And cleaning up some gravel. All right, that's it for now. We'll get back when I got some of this done, maybe later today. We'll see.
Hi.
Mrs. Santa Claus,
Yeah.
you gonna deliver some presents early? Oh, she's gonna bag up our chips. Well, it is after lunch, and I thought I'd catch you up with where we're at. And I've got all our brick prepared and ready to go, but I made a big flub up. I'm not going to let you see exactly what it is yet, because actually it looks really doggone good, the framing, except for a couple of issues. One was intentional, and then one wasn't. I don't know how I did that, But that's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be like that. Now it's sitting up a little bit, and I did that intentionally to make sure that and I got 4 legs in here. Now, again, remember, I've got to be able to remove this once I get everything in. So everything's got accessible screws. There's a gap here, so once I've got brick right here, I can reach up inside and somewhat get to it. Won't be easy, but I can get to it. And so I don't understand. I really don't understand, but every now and then you blow it big, and I did. So I need to drop this whole thing by 1/4 inch. And I'm an inch off here. That's a full inch to get it over there. So, dang it. You know? Otherwise, everything's there. Let me grab one of these bricks here and show you what we're talking about. Switch hands here. Alright, now, once I get this thing lowered down a little bit. Alright, you can see how that's going to sit there, and then you add that bed of mortar, actually drop a 1/4 inch and then add the bed of mortar, and then this is going to come up closer to where that mortar is right on the line. You see how that works. And if I add one of these bricks over here, not gonna work. It's not lining up. But I figured this out, and it's not a perfect solution, but it's the solution I'm gonna do to make this work. And because of the way I've done it, I think it won't affect things too greatly. So I'm going to take the legs off. We'll have to make some adjustments with those. And then I'm going to come right in here from the very center of this, and I'm going to cut it right up the middle. And I'll make a hinge point right. Oh, and I had another boo-boo. That dude right there. I was just in cut mode and put that board on the table saw to cut the angle, and had the cut edge over on there. Instead of cutting this side, I started to cut this side where this, well, it'll be alright. It's a frame. That will hold all the brick up until I'm done. I just got to make a few modifications, and I'm telling you, if you don't use it, you lose it. And all my geometry and all my math, I don't know how I did. I really don't understand what I did to get that in. Because I measured, I checked when I laid this out. It was like, I know what I need to have from this corner right here to this corner right there. That was marked on there, and how I don't know how I did it. But here I am, and this is what we got to do. And what I need is to have all these bricks sit in equidistance in an arch. I'm going to get that done, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it right up the middle, split it out, so you'll see a kind of an angled gap open up here to spread it out so that it sits, this corner moves over here. Then I'll put a gusset across here, something to scab it over on both of those boards. Frustrating, my friends, but it'll be all right. I could screw around with this and find other ways to fudge it, but I don't. I don't want to redo making all that. There was so much. It took us just half a day to make this whole thing. Planing the boards down, cutting, measuring, marking, cutting, getting all that screwed together. Dang it. But, like I said, my fix is not the greatest, but it's going to work. We're going to split it down the middle. I could even split it from quarters. One here, and then one here. Well, not quite quarters, but because we got 5. So up 2, up 3, down 3, and whatnot. And I could put... Y'all fussing at over there. It's actually been pretty quiet here. Yesterday, we reduced our layer hen flock. What are you doing, Shadow? We reduced our layer hen flock by 9 birds. We got rid of 9 older laying hens that we should have gotten rid of many years ago. Some of those birds we've actually had almost, well, since 2008 years, and they were a couple years old when we got them, so the birds were almost a decade old. Alright, a lot of BS in here, but you know, I share all these details and all this information with you so that you comprehend what it takes to think through building something like this. And even though it would have been a hell of a lot easier to do just a big, you know, create a mold and then a big adobe kind of thing over top of it, where you didn't have to do any of this bricklaying, where you just mix up a whole lot of clay and sand and then pack it, and then, yeah, you could have done that. We could have done that. And they last pretty good for a long time. And, you know, what do you think, Shadow? Can you see her? Hey, you, look up here. Say hi. Yeah, she's like, I'm doing. But this will be all right. I do like it. I will get it fixed. I'll make an adjustment in the middle, and then I'll be able to get in here and, yeah. All right, enough of this. I gotta still do these other arches here. Maybe I'll show you what that looks like once I get that done. What is that stupid SpongeBob thing everybody edits in? 20 minutes later. You've seen that in a bunch of... Yeah,
I've seen it, but I think
everybody sticks that in. All right. Check your lighting. Show the corners. Show the... All right. So we got it sitting right where it needs to be. So the next brick, or the first brick up, is going to sit flush on there. 1/4 inch of mortar on the bottom, 1/4 inch of mortar on the top, and ba-boom. Actually, I think I'm going to extend this all the way out here, because you said this, and I think I'm going to do this.
What did I say?
Well, you wanted to do the bonding, but anyway, all right, just on the frame. So I split it up the middle, and you can see that, and then I did my little scab here, and I can take that out real easy. This is actually going to make it easier to get this whole mess out of here. Really, it is, but I have a suspicion that this is going to be used again, because I got a neighbor friend who wants one now that he's seeing this. Anyway, look at that. I'm sitting right there, and where's it? Come here. So you can see this brick was a little low, so that mortar's going to come up a bit. So if I get my mortar in right about there and underneath there, and you look on top of that brick, see how it's just, yeah, so
You did it.
we did it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do the mess up. You helped build the thing. Now look at it straight on like that. Step back over here. You see that arch? Almost couldn't tell, because it's not that much of an angle in it, but you almost couldn't tell that it wasn't a true circle radius. So, all right, good enough. We got to do these. All right, let's do those. Bye in a minute. All right, a little bit better adjustments, and you can see that there are 3 separate arches. T just plugged in our little portable ACE air compressor so that we can get this situated. I'm going to tack a few of these together with some brad nails. Alright, so we got an inner arch here. And then we got a gap here with a raised arch on the inside. And then we've got a outer arch here. And the purpose in that is so that when the smoke and stuff comes through, because this is going to be a solid wall, when the smoke comes through, well, it's kind of hard to see it because these boards won't be here, but it'll literally travel through here at the highest point, because this will be the underside of this arch, and it'll come through into here, and it want to lift up, and there will be a flue right here going straight up. Oh my goodness, that I feel a lot better about that, even though I had to. And it's going to be easier for me to get it out, but it isn't a perfect arch, but it's still an arch, and it'll still have the structural. And I do want to make mention one issue difference I made earlier about the way I'm doing these bricks, about the difference. I want to redefine something between a mechanical hold and a structural hold. The mechanical hold is what happens here, the bond. That's mechanical bond. Structural is this brick sitting on top of this brick. So what I really want is more of a structural hold than a mechanical hold, because the mechanical hold could fail in time because the bond, because of the heating and shrinking of the mortar, could cause it to crack. But what you want is a mechanical hold, so that, as you can see, this there's no way that this thing could go down, because this is wider from here to here than this is here. So that's a structural. Structural means it's going to rest on it, kind of thing. So, ready to put a couple brads in it, honey?
Sure.
Am I crazy for doing this, honey?
Shit, we're crazy anyway. What's your...
Yeah, I know. Shit. We're crazy anyway. Alright, so this is it. I think we're probably got our arches done. And essentially, all I did was take this arch without the little wedge cut in it, this arch, and mirror it down here, because it was easy to do, and it's what we need. So we were looking at the width that we wanted on this door, and that width needed to be high enough so that our turkey roasting bin could get up in there.
Should be able to.
I think it will be. I think we're there. We've had some, not the bird, but we've had some very strange activity going on above us.
A lot of weird echoes.
Yeah, weird booms and thunders. Oh, it's just, it's kind of...
And ladybugs out the ark.
Oh yeah, ladybugs. Look. You gotta see these ladybugs. Look at that window up there. Oh, you gotta see it from the inside. Oh, how they get in. Seeing? Wow. Ladybugs. By the hundreds of them. So what do you think? What do you think? Get out of my face, ladybug. I'm starting to feel it, honey. It's challenging, but I'm starting to feel it. What do you think?
Yeah. It's coming together.
A lot of thought. So this is form work. And form work is the negative of what you want to create. You really have to have your mind focused on what you're doing in order to do form work. Get it off my... Yeah, thank you. Because those things bite. These little ladybugs,
These ones do.
They land on you, and a few minutes later, all of a sudden, you feel them stinging. But anyway, so this is the form work. I think we're done with it.
This is the farm work, yeah.
The farm work. Farm work. And, yeah, oof. So.
No, my mind's going everywhere else.
About what?
in a few days.
Yeah, yeah, well, don't worry about that. All right, so, hey, little girl.
She's inspecting your work.
She's inspecting it. It's not going to be your hive. It'll get too hot for you, I promise you. All right, enough of this. This would probably be good for a video, and then the next one I think we'll do the,
All
that
that
stuff.
fun stuff.
So bye for now.
Bye.